Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, if you've been anywhere near the digital world lately, 2023 was, well, frustrating.
Massively frustrating, yeah.
Google had just dropped that big helpful content update, the HCU, and basically everyone relying on traffic felt like they were just guessing, staring into a black box.
Right. Trying to reverse engineer everything. It really felt like Google was saying one thing in public
And doing something totally different behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That tension between the SEO world and Google was pretty high.
Huge uncertainty. For years, people tried to map Google's statements onto, what the systems actually did, and that gap just kept growing.
But then things shifted. We went from just guessing to actually having some evidence. First, the DOJ antitrust trial gave us some glimpses.
Which was fascinating, absolutely.
But the real earthquake was the leak. The Google Content Warehouse API documentation leak. Just unprecedented.
Yeah, this wasn't just a peek behind the curtain. This was like getting the full technical blueprints handed to you.
So our mission today, we're going to unpack those thousands of pages. What do they really mean for you?
Exactly. This isn't just a list of ranking factors. We need to understand the core architecture, how Google sees, organizes, scores everything online. And look, we have to give credit where it's due here, especially to Sean Anderson of HoboWeb for his initial deep analysis of the leak and the DOJ trial docs.
Absolutely. Crucial work.
And the big takeaway, really, the leak proved, with technical data, what good veteran marketers have said all along: focus on the user first. Those principles, they're actually built into the system.
Okay, let's get into it. Part one. How on earth did this leak even happen? Because, it wasn't some sophisticated spy operation.
Right at all. That's what's almost funny about it. It was just an automated mistake, a blunder.
How?
So, get this. March 13th, 2024. An internal software bot, and you gotta love the name, Yoshi Code Bot.
Yoshi. Like Mario's dinosaur.
Apparently. Anyway, this bot does an automated update, a routine thing, and just, whoops, publishes over 2,500 pages of super sensitive internal API documentation straight to a public GitHub repository.
No way. And it just sat there.
For weeks. Nobody noticed until May 5th. Irfan Azimi stumbled upon it, shared it with Rand Fishkin and Michael King, and then, it exploded.
Wow. And the scale we're talking about.
It's huge. Over 2,500 pages detailing 14,014 distinct attributes across nearly 2,600 modules. This is Google's internal language for describing your website.
And Google's official line on this. Predictable, I guess.
Completely. The standard non-denial. But, urging caution, warning against making inaccurate assumptions based on out-of-context, outdated, or incomplete information.
Right. The usual, nothing to see here, move along, even though the blueprints are, right there.
Exactly. Classic damage control. But the thing is, the validation this leak provides, it's massive. Think about all the things Google reps, even the big names, spent years downplaying or denying.
Like what specifically?
Well, the idea of overall website authority, right? They always minimize that. The direct impact of user clicks on rankings. They often said no, not directly. And that sandbox idea for new sites, also downplayed.
But the leak shows code for these things.
Explicitly. We see attributes like siteAuthority. We see the detailed mechanics of a system called NavBoost, which is all about clicks. And we see hostage, confirming that time factor for new hosts. Those denials, they just don't hold water anymore, technically speaking.
Okay, that really sets the scene. Let's dive into part two then. The blueprints themselves, the core architecture.
Yeah.
Before ranking, we need to understand how Google even stores this information. What are these data structures?
Right, the foundation. It starts with something called the CompositeDoc. You can think of it like a master folder, okay? One for each URL.
A folder for every single web page address.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it pulls together everything Google knows about that specific page, the content itself, who links to it, initial quality scores, everything goes in that main folder.
Got it. And inside that folder?
Inside that, you have the PerDocData model. Now, this is the really detailed stuff. It's like the full digital dossier, the wrap sheet Google keeps on every single URL.
A wrap sheet. Wow.
What's in there?
Almost everything. All the on-page factors, how fresh the content is, specific quality signals, user engagement data. The vast majority of those 14,000 attributes live here.
Okay, 14,000 attributes per page. That sounds computational expensive. Like, how can they check all that every time someone searches? There must be a shortcut.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really fascinating piece, the compressed quality signals module. And the reason it exists, it's actually about hardware.
Hardware?
Yeah, the documentation literally says, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, Carol, for Terra Google, This data is on very limited flash storage. They physically don't have the memory or speed to query that massive PerDocData model for every search in milliseconds.
Oh, okay. So they have to make a smaller, faster version, a cheat sheet. That's a perfect way to put it. A highly optimized cheat sheet. It holds only the most critical signals, the ones that are quick and cheap to check. Things like that siteAuthority we mentioned or pandaDemotion.
pandaDemotion, we'll come back to that. But the existence of this compressed module, this cheat sheet, what does that tell us about the process?
It tells us something fundamental. Ranking isn't just about what happens when you type a query. There's a pre-check, a resource-efficient pre-flight check, you could call it. Your page has to pass this check using those compressed signals before it's even eligible for the main ranking competition.
So it's like getting past the bouncer before you can even get into the club.
Exactly. And those compressed signals, they feed heavily into what Google internally calls Q, basically, the overall quality score for your entire domain. So if your site's overall rap sheet, that Q score reflected in the compressed signals, is bad, you might not even get considered for top spots, no matter how relevant your page seems.
That completely blows up the idea of just one Google algorithm, doesn't it? It sounds like a multi-stage process.
Absolutely. Forget the single algorithm myth. It's a layered ecosystem. The leak points to something like a 5-stage processing pipeline.
Okay, walk us through it. Stage 1.
Stage 1 is discovery and fetching. Systems like trawler finding and crawling your content. This is where basic site speed and crawlability are absolutely critical. If they can't get in easily, you're out before you start.
Makes sense. Stage 2.
Indexing and tiering. Systems like Alexandria and TerraGoogle, they don't just store your content, they put it in quality tiers. Think like base tier, maybe Zeppelins for higher quality, and landfills for the junk.
Landfills. Ouch.
Yeah. And where your document lands matters. Links from higher tiers carry more weight. Indexing isn't just storing, it's stratifying.
Okay. Stage 3.
Initial scoring. This is powered by a system called Mustang. This is the first real ranking pass. It looks at classic relevance signals and, critically, those pre-computed scores from the compressed quality signals module. Your site authority, your Q score, this gets you your initial placement on the results page.
So Mustang gets you on the list, but maybe not in the final order.
Exactly. Because stage 4 is re-ranking. This is where things get dynamic. Special systems called twiddlers come into play.
Twiddlers.
Yeah, twiddlers. Like NavBoost, which we'll talk more about, or Freshness Twiddler. They take Mustang's initial list and tweak it, adjust it based on other factors, often real-time stuff like user clicks or how new the page is.
Okay, so Mustang ranks, Twiddlers re-rank. What's left?
Stage 5, SRP assembly. Systems like Glue and Tangram, they take the final rank list and actually build the page you see weaving in images, maps, those featured snippets, everything, organizing the final output. It's much more like an orchestra than a single instrument.
That framework is incredibly helpful. Okay, let's dig into some of those specific signals now, the really juicy stuff confirmed by the leak. We have to start with NavBoost. Google always said clicks weren't a direct ranking factor. What's the real story?
This is probably the biggest I told you so moment for a lot of SEOs. NavBoost is absolutely real, confirmed as a powerful twiddler. It uses aggregated click data anonymized over a rolling 13-month window, specifically to re-rank the results that Mustang initially serves up.
Okay, so the nuance is when clicks are used, not for the initial Mustang score.
Correct. But crucially important for the NavBoost re-ranking stage. They validate or invalidate Mustang's initial assessment.
And it's not just any click, right? They're looking at the type of click.
Definitely. They track several metrics. Key ones seem to be good clicks, the user clicks and stays, seems satisfied. Then bad clicks, that's your classic pogo sticking, where someone clicks, immediately hits back because it wasn't right.
Right, the bounce back to the search results.
Exactly. And then the really important one, last longest clicks.
Last longest clicks. I like the sound of that. What does it mean?
That's the money shot. It means the user clicked your result, stayed there for a significant time, and didn't go back to click something else. It signals search task complete, query resolved.
So that whole debate is settled then. Clicks don't get you into the initial ranking. Mustang does that, based partly on authority.
Right.
But they absolutely determine if you stay there or even move up, thanks to NavBoost. User experience wins in the end.
Precisely. It's the ultimate performance review by actual users. Your content has to actually work for people.
Okay, let's pivot to authority and quality. We mentioned site authority is real. What else did the leak show about how Google measures that site-level trust?
Well, site authority itself is confirmed as a calculated score. It's persistent, stored in those compressed quality signals, making it a primary input for that overall site quality system, Q. Basically, Q is Google's internal grade for your entire domain's trustworthiness and quality.
So it's not just page level, it's the whole site's reputation.
Yes. And other things feed into this idea. We see hostage, which is the technical underpinning for that sandbox effect. New sites seem to need time to prove themselves.
And what about site focus? Does being a specialist matter?
It absolutely does. Look at attributes like siteFocusScore and siteRadius. This is algorithmic proof that Google measures and rewards topical specialization. Being a deep expert in a niche is valued more than being a generalist site covering everything superficially.
That makes intuitive sense. Now, maybe the biggest bombshell, especially thinking about the HCU update content effort. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this one is huge for anyone creating content. We found this attribute, contentEffort, and the description is explicit. LLM-based effort estimation for article pages.
Wait, LLM? Like AI assessing effort?
Seems like it. It suggests Google is using sophisticated models, likely large language models, to algorithmically estimate the amount of genuine human labor, originality, and, well, effort that went into creating a piece of content.
Wow.
This looks like the technical engine driving the helpful content system. It's trying to distinguish content made with real investment from, cheap, mass-produced, or just rehashed stuff.
The machine is literally trying to measure human effort. That's kind of mind-blowing. What about penalties? Are the old ghosts like Panda still hanging around in the code?
They absolutely are. They're codified. The principles from the 2011 Panda update, still there as pandaDemotion. It's a persistent site-wide penalty factor for thin, low-quality, or duplicate content.
So that technical debt is real.
Very real. And look at the UX penalties, too. There's one called clutterScore.
ClutterScore? What's that penalizing? Too many ads. Annoying pop-ups.
Seems like it. The description mentions distracting, annoying resources. But here's the kicker. The documentation notes this penalty can be smeared.
Smeared.
Yeah, smeared. Meaning, if one part of your site is really cluttered and annoying, that penalty can be extrapolated or smeared across other similar pages on your site. Bad hygiene in one corner can infect the whole house.
That's a powerful concept. Any other interesting signals like that?
Well, on the positive side, we saw things like UGG discussion effort score. This confirms that having a vibrant, well-moderated community on your page, think active comment sections, forums, is actually a measurable positive signal. Google sees that user engagement as a sign of quality.
Okay, so putting this all together, this brings us to the new strategic playbook. The guesswork is gone. We have the evidence. How should marketers, site owners, you listening right now, adjust your strategy based on this?
It really boils down to a two-pronged approach, aligning your efforts with how Google's architecture actually works. First prong, proactive quality.
Building for that foundational Q score we talked about.
Exactly. Focus on establishing your entire domain as trustworthy and high quality. That means cultivating a high site authority, probably through deep topical focus to get a good site focus score. And it means being absolutely meticulous about site hygiene. Avoiding that algorithmic debt from things like pandaDemotion or that clutterScore. You need a clean record just to get in the game.
Okay, so build a clean, authoritative foundation. What's prong 2?
Prong 2 is reactive performance. This is about winning the NavBoost battle, the engagement war.
Making sure people actually like your stuff when they click it.
Precisely. You need to create content, yes, but also user experiences that genuinely satisfy the user's query. You want to generate those positive click signals, especially those last longest clicks. Your site's authority might get you ranked initially by Mustang, but if users consistently hit the back button, if they pogo stick away, NavBoost will notice and it will likely push you down. You have to prove your relevance through user behavior continuously.
So it really comes back to what the best folks have been saying for years. Build a great site for users. Make it technically sound, fast, genuinely useful. The leak is just the ultimate confirmation that this wasn't just good advice. It's literally how the system is designed.
It's the ultimate vindication. The core strategy doesn't radically change, but our confidence in why it works. That's now based on solid evidence, not just correlation. The guesswork is officially over.
Sum it up for us then. The two big takeaways.
1, the architecture is complex and staged. Think Mustang for the initial rank based on authority and relevance, then NavBoost as the crucial user satisfaction check. It's not one monolithic thing.
Right.
And two, those signals we debated for years, site-wide authority, siteAuthority, detailed user-click behavior, NavBoost, topical focus, even content efforts. They aren't myths. They are real, quantifiable, technical attributes Google measures.
Which leads to a final thought for you, the listener, to really chew on. We now know Google is algorithmically measuring content effort. Think about that. How does knowing that potentially change your definition of quality content?